Watch for Canvas comments. I've made a comment on almost everyone, I think, or everyone's subject and central theme for the week. Also, watch those assignments carefully. You only have the subject and central theme due last night. I just wanted to know what you were going to be talking about. Some of you tried to turn in a score sheet that you clearly weren't ready to do yet. And so let's have it packed together, okay? There are several Enneagram 3s in here. Most of those Enneagram 3s really care about the points in a class. Trust me on this. If you will learn the score process and you'll work that process, the points will follow. Don't try and work on the points. Try and work on the process. It's going to make for a much more enjoyable class if you'll trust me on that. Also, I don't really do threaded discussions. I don't like them. But I do make a lot of comments to you on your speeches and even things that you're submitting. So you need to be checking those things. If you have questions, feel free to comment on there. I'll try and check back. Or send me a Canvas message about what it is that you're wondering about. But watch the assignment carefully. We will do the informative speech process this week, and it'll be due at the beginning of next. I'm going to let you work through the phases of the score method and submit, not resubmit. Well, for some of you, it's resubmit. Submit the score sheet at the end of this week. So, score is not my method. Sidebar. You have to watch the videos. 75% of you had obviously watched the video in Module 1. 25% of you had obviously not watched the video in Module 1. I don't have classroom instruction, and not everything can be handled in a handout or a PowerPoint in what I'm doing. And so make sure you watch all the videos. There's not going to be a million of them. There will be a few. Some of them will even be fun. They won't even be me talking. So make sure you do that. All right. Score method, written by a man named Ken Davis. It's not mine. Serves as a funnel. Subject, central theme, objective sentence, rationale, resources, evaluate. If you will use this process, it will teach you what to talk about and what not to talk about. I've been public speaking as a teacher, professor, pastor for 35 years. I still use this method. I have students who will come back to me and say, I use this for everything I do, including my papers. It's just that good. And I can say that because I didn't come up with it. It's just that good. Subject. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Just be ready to handle whatever's coming. And research it. Had a student a couple of semesters ago who decided to do a speech on why white men are indeed dangerous. It's a well thought out speech. Well done. However, somebody else in the class, when he heard his topic, thought he would do one on why white men are not dangerous. When he stood up for his speech, he opened with a PowerPoint, started with some images of white men he considered were not dangerous. His opening slide. Anybody? Can I hear it in video land? Jesus. Had a poet named Will sitting in the front row, and Will said, Jesus wasn't white. Speaker said, he was white enough. And that's about how the speech went. So, not necessarily a subject that is out of bounds, but you better bring it. You better research and know what you're talking about. Last summer, I had a student do speech on why Teddy Roosevelt was the greatest U.S. president. He had been somewhere, and he had 3 points. Unfortunately, everything he knew about Teddy Roosevelt was encapsulated in those 3 points. He knew absolutely nothing else. And in face-to-face classes, there are Q&A sessions. And there was another young man in the class who had made an in-depth study of Teddy Roosevelt and asked him questions, and he had no idea the answers, which was pretty clear in the speech too. So while there's not necessarily a topic that's out of bounds, know your stuff, do your research. So subject doesn't matter. Score is going to say, now how can we narrow that? Several of you had mental health as your subject, which is just far too wide to attack in a 3 to 5 minute speech. Far too wide. So somebody chose anxiety, and somebody else chose addiction, I think. And right now, as you get knee deep into speech preparation, you might decide, actually, that's still not narrow enough. My subject actually is anxiety. My central theme might be clinical anxiety, because there is anxiety and anxiety. Okay, understood. That's what you're looking for. You're trying to get that down to a manageable amount in 3 to 5 minutes. At 5 minutes, it's cut off. That video you submit needs to be between 3 and 5 minutes. Next thing, we start there today. Objective. It will feel wooden. It's going to feel like I'm forcing you into a formula, and I am. That formula goes exactly like this. Every blank. Now, you can choose every person, but you're talking about who am I really talking to here. So if you're talking about some severe nerd kingdom thing, a video game or a comic or an anime or a manga or I don't know. I don't know that that's for everybody. I don't know that everybody's going to catch on to that. In the same way that if you're in some kind of techno-babble speech of bits and bytes and bobbles. So, not every speech is for everybody, and that's okay. But your speech is for every blank. Now, for this informative speech, the next word is can. 2 weeks, we'll move to the persuasive, then I'll say should. But for right now, it's can. Every blank can blank in order to blank. Now, remember, you're just informing. That's all you're doing. You're telling us about something that you have a lot of knowledge about. Objective sentence. Every blank can blank in order to blank. That last blank is the key word or the key phrase. I call it the backpack. It's into the backpack that the next part of the speech, the rationale, the points of the speech go. And the reality with this is that once you have the objective sentence down, basically you have the speech basically ready to go. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're not talking about. And I'll give you an example in the assignment that opens today. Objective sentence. You're never going to say the objective sentence out loud, but I'm going to feel its presence if it was done well. I can probably give it back to you whether or not I look at the score sheet. Rationale. The points of the speech. Okay. Alliteration helps. Keeping the points limited helps. Repeating them helps. Lots of things help. Strong points, delivered clearly, make a difference. That's your rationale, the points of the speech. Second R is resources. Resources are things that bring light and color to the topic. If I'm doing a speech about my marriage, then I'm going to show pictures of my lovely wife and I, because I'm very fortunate. That's a resource. I might tell a personal story out about our very simple and yet beautiful wedding day out at McCoy's Little Red Barn here in Beebe. Those are resources. They are not sources where you got data. And if you turn in sources, I will know you did not watch this video. Not sources. Personal stories. You can use a PowerPoint. Even online, you can use a PowerPoint, because I could turn this phone around and use my computer You could have it behind you or next to you and go over the computer while you're recording this on your phone. That's no problem. You can use PowerPoint. You can use visuals. I don't know why I need a yellow highlighter, but there is one. It's a visual. It reminds us of the topic that you're on and lends light and color to your topic. Finally, evaluate is the name of a person who is going to help you evaluate this speech and its readiness to deliver. You are not looking to talk to your grandmother and whether or not they thought it was a good speech. That's not helpful. Your grandmother thinks everything you do is great. You were talking to someone who has one of two things in their favor. Either, one, they know a lot about your topic. So we know that we're getting the meat of the issue out there. They might say, well, what about this or what about that? And they'll be able to tell us whether or not you covered the material. Or, number two, they are someone who knows nothing about your topic. And the main purpose of someone like that is if you're in a very technical speech about some topic that's near and dear to your heart, that 90% of the rest of us are just maybe not into, or at least we don't know we're into yet. Can I get on the bus with you and take this journey? So, the name of a person that either has a lot of experience and knowledge or not. Just because your mom has always edited your papers does not make her a qualified choice to be your evaluator. You're going to put someone's name, and it's not going to be mine. I mean, yes, I am going to evaluate this speech. It's not what I'm asking for. It's before you deliver it. Who's going to help you evaluate the speech? It's a name. All right. So this week, we're going to put together the informative speech. Remember, it's can. You don't have to convince anyone. You just have to share your knowledge with them. All right. Enjoy the week, and I'll see you next time.